If now, instead of looking inwards, we again look outwards and take an objective view of the world which presents itself to us, then death will certainly appear to us as a transition into nothingness. On the other hand, however, birth will appear as a coming forth out of nothingness. But neither the one nor the other can be unconditionally true, for they possess the reality only of the phenomenal world. And that we should in some sense or other survive death is no greater miracle than that of procreation, which we have before our eyes every day. What dies goes to where all life originates, its own included. From this point of view, our life is to be regarded as a loan received from death, with sleep as the daily interest on this loan. Death announces itself frankly as the end of the individual, but in this individual there lies the germ of a new being. Thus, nothing that dies, dies forever, but nothing that is born receives a fundamentally new existence. That which dies is destroyed, but a germ remains over out of which there proceeds a new being, which then enters into existence without knowing whence it has come, nor why it is as it is. This is the mystery of palingenesis. It reveals to us that all those beings living at the present moment contain within them the actual germ of all which will live in the future, and that these therefore in a certain sense exist today, so that every animal in the full prime of life seems to call to us, "Why do you lament the transitoriness of living things? How could I exist if all those of my species which came before me had not died?" However much the plays and the masks on the world stage may change, it is always the same actors who appear. We sit together and talk and grow excited, and our eyes glitter and our voices grow shriller. And just so did others sit and talk 1,000 years ago. It was the same thing, and it was the same people, and it will be just so 1,000 years hence. The contrivance which prevents us from perceiving this is time. One would do well to make a clear distinction between metempsychosis, which is the transference of the entire so-called soul into another body, and palingenesis, which is the decomposition and reconstruction of the individual in which will alone persists, and, assuming the shape of a new being, receives a new intellect. Throughout all time, it is the male sex which stores up the will of the human species, and the female which stores up the intellect. Thus each of us has a paternal and a maternal constituent, and as these are united through procreation, so they are sundered again through death, which is thus the end of the individual. It is this individual whose death we grieve so much for, in the feeling that it is really lost to us, that it was no more than a compound which was and has now been irretrievably broken up. Yet in all this we must not forget that the hereditariness of intellect from the mother is not so firm and unconditional as that of the will from the father, the reason being the secondary and merely physical nature of intellect and its total dependence on the organism. One can thus regard every human being from two opposed viewpoints. From the one, he is the fleeting individual, burdened with error and sorrow, and with a beginning and an end in time. From the other, he is the indestructible primal being, which is objectified in everything that exists.